Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be looking at will they reach out and when. So I want to preface this video by stating that divine timing is always the most reliable estimate as far as when things that are meant to unfold will. Free will is a factor that cannot be predicted, and there are always variables that can change the energies in a situation and between people. With free will, things like fear or even epiphanies can either motivate somebody to take action or can kind of slow down or temporarily stall their progress. So keeping that in mind, you can basically look at this as sort of a general estimate, kind of the most likely scenario based on the current energies of the connection between you and this person, which again can be subject to change based on outside factors for them, for you, factors in your environment, in the world, and just the currents of energy in general. So there are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Emerald, along with this group of cards. Group 2 is the Goldstone, along with this group of cards. And Group 3 is the Black Moonstone, along with this group of cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups, or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you would like to jump ahead, which I do recommend so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to kind of clear the energy for the group I've just read for and to tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get right into it. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Emerald. So So I'm going to start with these cards to take a look at will they reach out and maybe get some kind of an idea of a time frame of when that might happen. So we've got the King of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, Two of Wands, Page of Cups, Inner Peace, All That Glitters, Nature, ground yourself, find a sanctuary in nature, connect with the elementals, Grounding, Trust in the Plan, and Frog. So with the Two of Wands, this definitely looks like somebody who is planning their next move in this situation. Somebody who might be taking into consideration with this image here of the man holding the globe, taking into consideration maybe distance between you, geographical distance that might be presenting as an obstacle to meeting up with you face to face. This can also really, it's tying in for me with almost like the World Wide Web, so the internet, trying to plan, maybe trying to research how to reach out to you, seeking you out online, Googling you, looking at your social media if you have social media, and if this person has access to that in some way, just to kind of try to get a feel for what's going on in your life, how receptive you are, trying to get a feel for if you're seeing anyone, are you single, you know, just trying to really get an estimate of what's happening with you. There could also be some other factors regarding money or finance, something to do with their job, or again, kind of geographic location that could be a factor to be taken into consideration in terms of reaching out, making contact. With the Eight of Pentacles, this is really, again, talking about those plans that are being put in place, preparations that are being made, something that this person is working on, maybe rehearsing what they want to say to you. This could be somebody who also has perhaps drafted emails or text messages but has not sent them, has felt that the words aren't quite right just yet. But it is something that they've been putting a lot of effort into, something more than just a passing thought, but also with this reference to grounding here, this desire to really bring those thoughts, bring those feelings or something that's on their mind down into the physical reality in the form of actual communication. So this is also, again, with these two cards here, this is moving beyond just communication in the 5D. This is moving beyond telepathy, which may be at this point existent between the both of you. You could be getting kind of messages from their higher self, communicating with them energetically in that sense, but this is a desire on this person's part to have more than that, to kind of bring that forth and have something very concrete in the material world with you. Perhaps an apology that is owed. This Page of Cups and the King of Cups, something very heartfelt, a heart-to-heart discussion that they want to really have, or that is owed, that is necessary in order to close the door on maybe a difficult chapter, a confusing chapter in your connection, in order to step forth into something that is more the two of you really being in alignment here with these two koi fish here on the Inner Peace card. Something where, you know, any of that confusion or that uncertainty or any kind of like hurt feelings or wounds that one or both of you may have been holding on to since your last encounter. This is a desire within that person, again, this watery energy, to really communicate from the heart space, to speak their truth, to offer that very genuine apology. and, you know, just kind of shift the energy of the connection to one where openness is a theme, discussing feelings, discussing emotions, being aware and sensitive and mindful of one another's feelings, one another's kind of boundaries or emotional needs even that are necessary in ways that those things might not have been tended to or observed or really able to be processed before. These two cards here with the Page and the King of Cups, this also really, to me, talks about someone who has gone through this metamorphosis within themselves, some kind of an emotional maturity that has taken place. The last time you were dealing with them, it might have been kind of this emotionally immature person, somebody who maybe wasn't very proficient at expressing themselves, someone who didn't have a lot of experience in love, or somebody who had really through their upbringing maybe been sort of conditioned to believe that showing emotions were a sign of weakness. It was something that could really open them up to, with all this, the All That Glitters card, being taken advantage of emotionally. Maybe they were taken advantage of emotionally, kind of that saying, someone may be taking their kindness for weakness in the past, and this is a sense of this person maybe shutting down a little bit in the heart space, being a little bit grounded as a result of that, or just not really having the tools necessary for kind of that very reciprocal and honest kind of emotional exchange, that dialogue. With All That Glitters, they could have really put on a facade or tried to present kind of a hard or an aloof exterior, feeling through their own observations, or maybe again what was sort of templated in them growing up, that to express emotions, to express their feelings, to talk about their feelings, that it wasn't somehow appropriate or would only lead to loss for them, that there wasn't much value in that. This person could have also been really discounted in terms of the value of their feelings by others, their feelings not being respected, not being honored. And so that kind of in turn led to them not honoring their own feelings, not putting priority on that, kind of allowing other things to really take precedence over their own kind of needs, wants, and desires. But with this Eight of Pentacles, this feels like something that this person has worked on. Some kind of an evolution has taken place with them, where instead of being very sort of removed and at a distance with this Page here, and he's standing on this beach kind of away from the ocean, away from these emotions, somebody who kind of keeps that at a distance. And then we see here with the King, where he's got this little platform amidst the waves, amidst the water. So this is somebody who has become more adept, more skilled, more comfortable with sort of tapping into that emotional energy within themselves, kind of having bypassed that fear of being very overwhelmed or succumbing to the intensity of emotions in general in their life, or even as it just pertains to this connection, that it could have been very much something that they kept at a distance previously, that they chose to focus on maybe earthly matters as opposed to matters of the heart. They chose to focus on kind of surface level connections, and just the potential that existed in this connection in the past between you might have just been so overwhelming to them. It just really, they almost felt that it threatened to capsize whatever they had going on, some kind of stability that they built for themselves, just again kind of out of this energy of being unaccustomed to operating out of that heart space. We also have here on this nature card and all this kind of green and yellow, which is really speaking to somebody who is stepping into that heart-centered awareness, and it's seeing that as a source of empowerment. Somebody in the past who may have really looked at emotional vulnerability as a sign of weakness, but is now seeing that as a sign of strength, is allowing to themselves to kind of trust in the guidance of that heart, trust in their feelings, and using that to create moves, to create momentum in their life in other ways. There's a lot of kind of gold and yellow here in these cards, as well as green. So again, somebody who has really tapped into that heart space, into that heart chakra, and is using that to kind of fuel the momentum of changes they have wanted to make in their life in other ways. And also somebody who is looking at this connection now, who has had some kind of change of heart, some kind of heart chakra activation or expansion or awareness, that the intensity of what they've experienced, the potential of that with you, it can be a source of power for them. It can be a source of support for them. It's something that, unlike maybe the just kind of words of love not followed up by actions that they dealt with in the past, this is the real thing with you. This is a higher level love than whatever they might have experienced in the past, or even other situations they may have chosen to go into, kind of distancing themselves from this connection and just heading toward that opulence, the things that looked really good on paper or really good in a practical sense, but that there was that kind of lack of a genuine connection. There was two people wearing masks there. Even the last time you were dealing with this person, you know, they may have had a facade, you may have felt the need to kind of water yourself down, contort yourself into a version of what you thought would be appealing for them. And so there's this intensity of this energetic connection, but the two of you not even having really scratched beneath the surface very deeply of those kind of sort of that first impression, or that kind of putting the best foot forward energy. But there's all this potential here for, you know, the ascension of this connection, the ascension of this love, this kind of higher being, this higher awareness, this higher understanding and experience of love in this connection. Trust in the plan really talks about this person, again, kind of trusting in that inner guidance, in that nudge, somebody who is stepping in with this gold here at kind of the heart space, and that this is really, you know, kind of illuminated here. Somebody who may have gone through that heart chakra activation, somebody who is leading from the heart, somebody who is kind of allowing the guidance from their higher self and their heart to kind of determine their path forward, and in sort of gravitating back towards you and reaching out to you. With the frog here, this is all about metamorphosis and change. Kind of, you might have been dealing with someone, again, that kind of, the idea of like the tadpole energy, the Page of Cups, this very emotionally immature person in the past, somebody who felt very much at the mercy of their emotions, somebody who didn't really feel, you know, that they could escape their emotions or something of that nature if they were to open up too much. So they almost kind of tried to keep that at arm's length. Almost like a fear that was surrounding that has since you have last dealt with them or last been in contact with them, there's been this evolution. This person has learned to wade both into those emotional waters and also to kind of ground themselves from that higher perspective, kind of like this image here with the King of Cups on his platform, you know, and this idea of the frog who spends, you know, part of their time in the water and part of the time on land. So somebody who is able to kind of sort of walk that liminal space between worlds, somebody who is able to navigate kind of the depth and breadth of their emotions, somebody who is able to find that wisdom from within and then kind of transfer that out, also in terms of the truth of their heart and really taking that and grounding that into the physical world. Somebody who, you know, is in touch with that green, that heart chakra, that truth of their heart, the truth of how they feel about you in this connection, and has this desire and this motivation to take things to the next level, to kind of bring that out from the internal realm out into the material world, out into the concrete reality. Somebody who is no longer just thinking about these things and pondering these things. There may be some degree of planning and preparation, but this does feel like a very active energy, somebody who's actively engaged in that. With trust in the plan, this doesn't feel like somebody who has this urgency to rush in, somebody who is just kind of trusting in that inner guidance, perhaps for the first time in their life, or the first time in a while, who has learned to kind of trust in that nudge, trust in that desire to make, you know, reach out in the sense of, you know, making those plans and preparations, doing that research, really formulating what they want to say, their method of delivery, taking concrete steps that are bringing them ever closer to that kind of precipice of truth, of speaking some kind of truth, of making some kind of contact. And this does feel like somebody also with these two koi fish here, this can really talk about kind of the union of soulmates or even twin flames, somebody who really sees you as a kindred spirit, somebody who sees you as somebody deeply compatible with them, someone who has this desire to kind of delve into the emotional waters with you, somebody who feels more comfortable and is able to, you know, express themselves, express their truth, who is willing and able to kind of work with you on that level to, again, maybe talk about some things that, you know, an apology that needs to be owed, some kind of truth that needs to be delivered, some kind of miscommunication that happened before, or even feelings that were held back. With all of this kind of water here in these cards with the cups and then this inner peace, this is definitely somebody wanting to kind of again purge what they've been holding inside, to kind of bring that out. With this fish here coming up out of the Page of Cups, this can definitely, well, in some decks it's considered a salmon. Maybe it's a baby salmon, a small salmon, some kind of fish. But salmons are usually equated with wisdom. And so this is somebody who is gaining a lot of wisdom from those emotional waters, somebody who is kind of learning and has learned in a major way to identify these triggers within themselves that may have caused them to keep love and this connection at arm's length. Somebody who has really picked up some tools, who's acquired some tools to do better, to show up as a better version of themselves, a more authentic version of themselves, somebody who is able to communicate better than they may have done in the past. So in terms of timing, again, with this, I'm really drawn to this trust in the plan and this very just kind of deliberate energy, this figure here in this meditative state. This person's still really relying on this guidance, maybe looking for signs, synchronicities, following these little nuggets that the universe and their higher self and their spirit team is giving them, as far as kind of understanding the nature of their own emotions, learning to kind of cope with these things and express themselves in a more concrete and direct manner. This doesn't feel like somebody who just wants to rush in very impulsively. This feels like somebody who wants to make sure that they get it right. They could almost border on a little bit of too much over planning with the Two of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles, almost kind of rehearsing and drafting, and it's just the same thing over and over again. And they get to that point where they feel that it's ready, it's right, but then something kind of holds them back. So some fears and hesitation that they could still be battling with, to just kind of take that leap, take that dive in, to kind of reach out, speak their truth, kind of bring down into the material world these intentions that they have, this knowledge that they have from their higher self, from their soul, the truth of their heart, bring that out into the material world with you. So this could be something where, again, kind of that energy of diving, this could be very spontaneous when that person finally decides that, it's good enough. It's almost like an artist who is working on a piece, whether that's a painting, some kind of visual art, even people who are writing or making some kind of poetry. There can be almost this inner critic within them, or just this sense of it not being quite right, and that can go on ad nauseum, just trying to perfect those little details and those little aspects of it, and then at a certain point, then the person just needs to kind of throw their hands up and say, that's it, this is the finished product, and just sort of give birth to that, submit that, present that as the final piece, needing to just kind of step away from that, just kind of very firmly kind of cut off that period of preparation, because it's almost a sense here with this person that it's never going to be exactly right. The timing is never going to be exactly right. What they want to say, there's always that variable, that they don't know what you're going to respond with, or, other circumstances could come up, or it might, not come up just right, inflection or stuttering over their words, or, potential things that are kind of triggered within you, or kind of brought to the surface, questions that they can't anticipate you asking that they'll then be forced to answer. And so it's this sense of almost, again, that over preparation, where their higher self it's kind of this image of like a child who's on a diving board in a swimming pool, and they're hesitating, taking that dive off the platform for the first time, maybe doing, the high diver or something of that nature. And then kind of like the swim instructor, the coach comes and or the parent has to just kind of, push them off. They have to just be sort of compelled to take that leap forward, to kind of move beyond that barrier of fear or hesitation, because left to their own devices completely, and it never would be the right time necessarily. It'd be very difficult to kind of cross that barrier or boundary. So there is a sense of divine intervention happening here, because this person is so open in that heart space. They're so cognizant at this point of these signs, this certainty that they have, the truth of their heart that they may have denied previously and for a while about this connection. So it seems like it could be very spontaneous and unexpected with this person in terms of them reaching out. But this is also the energy of a buildup with all this water water. It's almost like the idea of kind of a glass that's being filled with water, and it's getting closer and closer to that brim, closer and closer to that point of spilling over, of being announced, of being made known. So you may sense kind of the energetic pressure building with this person, this sense of anticipation, feeling their energy, a lot of their thoughts being invested in you and what they want to say and what they want to do in this situation. You may feel this closeness with them. You could start dreaming about them a lot, or if you meditate, connecting with them more easily and more intensely during meditation. And all of this just being kind of a sign of the two of you being magnetized back together, both your higher selves and your spirit teams colluding in order to really make this happen, push this person into action at a point when you are optimally most receptive, or maybe even when you're not thinking about it, when you're not anticipating it, and it catches you off guard, and therefore in that very honest and candid moment in time. So this does feel like something that is, in the process of happening. This person has kind of moved beyond those thoughts. They're in the planning, they're in the preparation stage, a little bit of fear holding them back, but this is a force which is, it's mounting, it's growing, it's building. This is almost somebody who that truth is kind of building from the inside out. There's this sense of almost bursting at the seams as well with what they want to say to you. It's something they cannot contain for very much longer. And so this feels to be pretty immediate energy in terms of some kind of a time frame would be, within the next month to several months, potentially even weeks. It's that kind of a buildup where it's, this has been something that has been in the works for a while. This is not just a new kind of awareness that this person has come to. They've mastered in some way some element of themselves, some element of fear of emotions, fear of emotional vulnerability. And this almost feels like the next step in that journey for them, the next step in really bringing that truth and those developments, that growth that has happened on the inside. The next step then is to bring it out into some kind of truth apology, or even offer of reconciliation or love to you. So I'm going to get a few messages from this person's higher self for you, group one, and see what do they want to say. Okay, and they say I'm working on myself. So that was coming up with these new tools that this person has acquired as far as emotional mastery, as far as emotional vulnerability, recognizing some patterns within themselves to kind of avoid love or avoid that kind of deep level of connection. Somebody who may have been most comfortable in kind of surface level interactions and the intensity of this connection that caused them to kind of run or push this away. This is something where this person has had some kind of a shift, some kind of a metamorphosis, somebody who has really admitted to themselves the depth and breadth of feelings for you that they may have really repressed and denied. Somebody who has looked in that mirror, who has recognized that shadow, and who is and has taken steps and is still taking steps to kind of correct that, to open up bit by bit. And this can even be in the form of speaking that truth to others in their life, setting firmer boundaries in their life, stepping into that authenticity, kind of taking little or even grand steps in their life to sort of change their circumstances, change what they're focusing on, even what they're investing their time in, or who they are investing their time with. Platonic, other romantic connections, even family connections, or something to do with work, in order to really kind of move away from that which no longer resonates with them, and to kind of call in other kindred souls or resonant kind of experiences. And we also have doubting. So that was coming up with this fear that's holding this person back. Again, that image is really coming in strongly of kind of the child on the diving board, the high dive, that's just kind of right at the edge of that board, looking down at everyone else in the pool, everyone else in the water who's telling them, it's fun, it's okay, it's safe, it's take that step, take that dive, take that leap. And they're right there. They're right at the brink. There's so much excitement. They want to be there in that emotional water water with you. They want to be in that space with you, but it's a little bit of hesitation of that unknown that is holding them back. It's a little bit of that kind of residue of a lot of the things they may have worked on within themselves in terms of fear of intimacy, those last kind of fumes that are lingering from that deep kind of shadow work and metamorphosis that is causing them to kind of pause right at that brink, kind of that over planning, over preparation stage. And they also say, I can't walk away. So this could be more of that energy of fear, kind of walking away from, you know, maybe a previous belief system about love, something that, some kind of wounding from their past that had really caused them to kind of close off their heart, to question love in general, or to have certain opinions or views about it. And it's kind of like those last little fibers of that still clinging to this person, where they've taken a lot of steps and a lot of actions to moving beyond that, but there's still a little bit that's holding them back. This can also talk about somebody who, despite any kind of time and distance or what was said in the past, what their actions were, that they've held you deep within their heart. This is that truth that they've been almost cracked open to, that they are now listening to, that they are now acknowledging. They're recognizing. They've learned to become more comfortable with this. Somebody who's working with that energy, somebody who's working with the reality of those feelings to try and plan a way forward. Somebody who doesn't want this connection to be over, doesn't want to release these feelings and to, you know, walk away in another direction, but somebody who wants to almost pull you closer and to invest in the connection in a way that might not have been possible or they weren't ready to do previously. And they also say, I've been having weird dreams about us. So that was coming through with the energy of dreams and telepathy, and the two of you most likely really connecting very strongly at this point in time, because again, that energy of momentum is building. As much as this person is really consciously thinking about reaching out from the higher self level and from kind of the spiritual aspects, they are also being pushed and motivated. So a lot of signs may be coming in for this person in their day-to-day existence, a lot of dreams coming in that is just really kind of pushing that point home to them, you know, to keep them motivated, to keep them moving, keep them going, keep them kind of flowing in their life towards you, towards that intersection of reaching out, turning the page, creating some new experiences, the potential for that between the both of you. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit now for you, Group 1, about this situation. Okay, we've got Ascended Masters. Powerful, loving, and wise spiritual teachers are watching over and guiding you. Yeah, so that was definitely coming through strongly about the nudges this person is getting. Their higher self, their spirit team, really advocating for this person to cross that barrier of fear, that threshold of fear, and make a move, take that step, take that plunge. And again, this could be in the form of divine intervention, some kind of a synchronicity, a serendipity that happens where you run into each other unexpectedly, and this person no longer is able to kind of hesitate right at that brink of fear. They're kind of face to face with you, very unexpectedly almost, and there is no choice but to speak that truth, kind of that element of divine timing and sort of the clock running out on that. This person's higher self and spirit team and your higher self and your spirit team are really pushing the both of you and kind of pushing exterior circumstances, realigning things, reorganizing things in order for that very crucial point of the two of you intersecting with one another again. Something definitely to be experienced from the growth that you have both done internally since you were last dealing with each other, and a lot of possibility here for a more deeply fulfilling emotional relationship than you may have experienced in the past with this person. So I'm going to get a little more guidance for you, Group 1. Okay, and we have Blessing in Disguise. What appears to be a problem is actually part of your answered prayer. You'll understand the reasons behind your present situation as everything resolves. Trust in heaven's protection and infinite wisdom to answer your prayer in the best way. So this is really talking about any sort of hesitation, maybe even the pressure energetically that you're feeling about this person, right on the precipice of making that communication, making, you know, themselves known to you, speaking that truth, and any sort of frustration that's leading to on your part, you know, kind of questioning, why won't they hurry up? Why won't they just do it? If they want to do this so much, they want to speak, you know, speak. Maybe you've left the lines of communication very open. You're very accessible. This person knows where to find you. They know how to reach you. And so again, some frustration at them, at their inaction. You're really being guided that, you know, this is a very crucial juncture of fear that this person is facing, almost when they reach out or when kind of circumstances compel them to speak their truth, when there's nowhere to kind of hide from the connection anymore. You're sort of face to face with one another. That's kind of this idea of like the butterfly coming out of the cocoon at that moment, that it represents a paradigm shift for the both of you. So this time of kind of preparation and that build up, it's almost an extra lesson in patience for you, and trusting in that divine plan, trusting in that divine timing, trusting in the signs you are getting, continuing to, you know, encourage this person energetically, to allow this person the time and space that they require to make these changes within themselves, so that they can step into that mature energy, that King of Cups energy, so that they are able to deliver to you a truth and a vibration and a presence that can contribute to the overall kind of health and well-being of the connection moving forward. That to kind of do things prematurely, you know, this person really, they're in kind of this middle of this process of becoming. It can't really be rushed. It's something which is needing to unfold very organically. There's a lot happening beneath the scenes, and it almost feels that kind of like the idea with the glass of water being filled. It's like drop by drop, day by day, moment by moment, breath by breath. This person is moving closer to that edge, to that precipice, to that floodgate of even just the energetic interaction of the two of you in the 3D sense, once again being in physical proximity with one another or having those lines of communication opened, that the melding of those energies will create kind of an alchemical reaction in the both of you. It will help to really crystallize a lot of the work that you've done within yourself. It'll present some new lessons, new blessings, new opportunities. It's kind of re-meeting each other as sort of an improved or a more self-aware, a more authentic version of each other than you had been dealing with previously. So, you know, definitely, again, kind of a lesson in patience here. Taking the time to really sort of tend to your own sort of emotional wounds that might be lingering, taking the time to really recognize and look at what are some of the ways that you hold back your truth in your own life in other capacities. What are some ways you could be stepping more into that authenticity, checking in with yourself, being very honest about what you're feeling, even if it's frustration about this situation, finding some way to process that and to get that out in a healthy manner. You know, writing down your thoughts and feelings, drafting a letter to this person, burning that and kind of, you know, releasing that into the universe, clearing that from your energetic system, from your aura, from your psyche, in order to kind of keep the purest and the most unencumbered vibration of openness, so that, you know, when your paths collide, when the divine kind of brings the two of you together, when this person just kind of gets to that brink and takes that plunge even, that you're open and ready to receive this kind of elevated and enhanced version of this person, to be able to kind of decipher maybe even some of those more subtle changes that have happened within them energetically, and then the two of you can definitely, it can open the door to some healing for the both of you, or even closure if this is somebody that, you know, you're not interested in starting fresh with. There can definitely be a lot of healing that comes through with all this watery energy through this person kind of reaching out, making an apology, or, you know, even something that could develop and blossom into a friendship between the both of you in the future. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 1, this could be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got G, O, D, R, I, S, V, H, and E. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and some divination tools in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the Goldstone. So I'm going to start with these cards to get a feel for if they're going to reach out and some potential time frame perhaps for that. So we've got the Lovers, 10 of Wands, Page of Wands, 9 of Wands, Openness, Happy Happy, Courage, you are safe, fear is an illusion, set strong boundaries, Let your light shine, Key of Light, and Raccoon. So this does look like somebody with the 9 of Wands, the Wounded Warrior card, who is dealing with some fears, who has gone through some battles within themselves. This feels like a head over heart battle that has been waged. Somebody who has really summoned their courage in a lot of ways as well to kind of conquer their fears, maybe a fear associated with love and loss. A fear of maybe also not having enough to offer to this connection or to love in general. Kind of a fear that this person may have of being a burden, or some truth about themselves, their genuine self. Having not really been received well by others in the past, people who might have been kind of annoyed by this person, or just felt almost kind of drained by this person energetically. This person could be very high vibrational by nature, and that has really irritated and triggered kind of the shadowy aspects of others that are dealing with life out of kind of a stance of distortion. And this person could have really internalized that as something being wrong with them, something being kind of too much about this person. And so they've really have struggled then to open themselves up in a very authentic way. This could be somebody who, kind of with this imagery of the raccoon and this shadowy sort of energy. This is talking not only about fears that this person has worked through, and that they are in the process of still working through, but somebody who has really felt the need to not expose very much of themselves, to hold a lot back, somebody who kind of fears the way in which they would be accepted should they kind of show that authentic truth. And that could have really acted as a barrier or wedge between the both of you in the past. Kind of all this potential between the both of you, but still this distance that this person was maybe unwilling to cross. You were kind of perhaps looking at the higher perspective of what could blossom from this connection, and this person was just kind of operating out of sort of the lens of what they had experienced in love in the past. Somebody who wasn't able to really to see the potential that their story from before, their history, does not need to dictate their future. And so that could be something where pessimism was a big factor between you in the past. This is something that this person has had to work on within themselves, kind of with this let your light shine, to speak that truth, speak that authenticity, present themselves in a very genuine way to the world, and recognizing as well that those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. So somebody who's been in this process of kind of discernment as far as the company they are keeping, or who has really learned to kind of extract themselves from the opinions of others. Somebody who has really been on this journey of filling their own cup with the happy, finding that truth, finding that space of joy, projecting that out. Somebody who has gone through kind of an understanding that, a lot of what they might have been triggering in others through their personality or through kind of their energy, that this is really reflective of unhealed wounds within others. This is not due to a deficit within this person, but it's almost like their light, it shines so brightly that it kind of, irritates those shadowy aspects in other people. So somebody who has really learned to love themselves for who they are. Somebody who has really also, with this full moon here, who has kind of recognized some cycles within themselves of maybe codependence or people pleasing, and has really been working to kind of break out of that cycle. This also speaks to a cycle between the both of you, a cycle of no contact, or again, kind of this energy of somebody who only let you in so far, kept that mask, kept that facade, kept a lot hidden and in the shadows, operated out of this kind of this darker energy of just almost self-loathing, self-deprecation, self-doubt. And that really, it could have been a struggle for the two of you to kind of maintain the good times between you in the past. Somebody who was very resistant to the potential of kind of letting go of that expectation of defeat, that expectation of loss, that expectation of burden, to step into the joy that was possible for them through this connection. It feels, again, a lot has been done for this within this person, a lot of burdens that they have, really recognized are not theirs to carry, the opinions of other people that may still to some degree be a factor that is kind of weighing upon them. This feels like somebody with this 10 of Wands here. This is it's this idea of these burdens that it's time to put these down. It's time to let these things go, with the full moon as well, kind of a card of culmination that then sort of leads in terms of lunar cycles into that waning moon, that time of release, that time of letting go. So this feels like somebody who is kind of in that process of letting go of an old way of being, an old way of thinking about love, thinking about themselves, thinking about this connection. This is somebody who's kind of on the brink of letting that all go, stepping into kind of here with this Page of Wands and this card of good news, and he's holding that Ace of Wands, that passion, that inspiration, that spark, that authenticity, living that truth. This is somebody who's stepping into that, somebody who is learning to kind of take control of their life, to not allow themselves to be sort of swayed by the opinions of others, recognizing as well that, to do that, to kind of dim their light, to fit into expectations, it's led to a very kind of barren, almost like a wasteland existence in a lot of ways, that they have moved further and further away from happiness, from fulfillment in many ways, and also as it pertains to this connection, the joy that is possible, kind of that new sort of landscape, that higher experience of love. So somebody who might, again, be at this point of kind of struggling to let that go, still kind of operating in this energy of a little bit standoffish, a little bit guarded. And so there seems to also, with all these wands here, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of intensity, there's a lot of fire that they feel for you, that might be still kind of overwhelming for them. The idea of, this almost feels like somebody who kind of looks at the situation with you as too good to be true. That to really take this opportunity to kind of let go of a previous way of thinking, or even some kind of barriers or boundaries that they had put up between the two of you, or had put up around their heart, that to let that go, it's both something that fills them with a sense of anticipation and also this fear, this hesitation about maybe other times when they let others in too close, and that only ended up kind of in a sense of loss for them. There is this desire of this kind of coupling, this reunion though, this coming closer back into self, union within self, but then also this desire to kind of turn the page with you, turn the page in this situation. They're recognizing you as somebody as well with this key of light. You hold the key to their heart. They see you almost as someone who holds the key to salvation from maybe a pattern or a trend in terms of love and loss in their life in the past. Somebody who, holds that key to liberation of that authentic self, that truth, that happier version of them, that better version of them, the best version of them, the self-loving version of themselves. They almost feel that with you they are safe to let that light shine, to speak that truth, to operate from that very illuminated heart center awareness, which is, it's very much enticing them, it's drawing them. This feels like somebody who is, very kind of overwhelmed and burdened by sort of the lack of communication with you, whatever else they have in their life, whoever else is in their life currently. This is not circumstances that is adding to the measure of joy for them. It's something which is actually just really kind of pulling them down, weighing them down. They could be dealing with a lot of kind of low vibrational people, or again, a lot of this feels very kind of internal in terms of their perceptions or just their feelings and what they associate with love, kind of the residual wounds of the past, almost like somebody who has a little bit of PTSD as far as love is concerned, where, intimacy and even the potential of happiness, somebody who doesn't feel worthy and deserving of that. And the idea of that, even seeing others around them who are operating in a very happy space, in a space of togetherness, that could be very triggering for this person, bring up these feelings of inadequacy, these feelings of not being good enough, not being worthy or deserving of that. Somebody who must kind of hide their true self in the shadows as well. Somebody who must just kind of, with this energy of raccoon, and they're sort of their foragers. Somebody who must just kind of take what they can get. Somebody who doesn't feel worthy and deserving of having their emotional needs met. Somebody who doesn't necessarily feel worthy and deserving of having their true and authentic self seen, realized, and accepted. Somebody who may be viewed as a nuisance by others in their life. Somebody who might be, you know, considered kind of annoying, or almost this energy of kind of the black sheep of the family. Somebody who's very misunderstood. Somebody who's kind of on the outskirts, on the boundaries of even their most intimate situations. And so there's this potential in this connection of walking through that door, experiencing something more than they have previously experienced, a new level of love, a new level of being seen and understood and accepted for exactly who they are. And it feels so enticing for this person. They're recognizing as well with this happy and the Page of Wands that, you know, happiness in some way that they have not experienced before, it does reside with you. There's this urge to kind of break away from the old and take a chance on the new, to throw caution to the wind, to open themselves up to that potential to being hurt in love in the future, to be hurt in this connection. But it almost seems like something that their higher self and their heart is telling them it's worth it. It's worth the risk. It's worth taking that chance. It's worth stepping out of that comfort zone. So this does feel like something with all of this kind of wands energy, this fire energy, and that's usually a very quick energy. It typically, you know, relates to almost like quick communication. This feels like something, though, that it's relating here to this process of release, cycles and illusions, kind of breaking down, falling away, bridges being burned, even subconsciously within this person, to memories of the past, to associations of the past with love, even to, you know, really seeing people with this full moon here. And kind of this reference also to light, seeing the truth about connections, the truth about people in their life, recognizing the truth about themselves, that they are worthy and deserving of love just as they are. Somebody who may have really misjudged themselves but is learning to love themselves, learning to cherish themselves in all their quirkiness and all their weirdness and all their intensity. Somebody who is starting to recognize that perhaps the role of their relationship with these other people, you know, they could have a lot of karmic situations in their life in terms of, you know, that could be romantic, that could be platonic, it could be, you know, in work situations, but it just kind of equates to souls who interact with each other and really kind of open the door or present the path to some kind of healing and evolution. So in that sense, karma in that sense. And so this person really being a very triggering factor to others, simply by their personality, their disposition, just their very energy. This person really starting to recognize that this is sort of the role in which they have kind of signed up with these other souls to interact with each other in this lifetime, to really trigger and illuminate some wounds or some patterns or belief systems within oneself. It's almost like, you know, people that are really triggered by somebody's light are kind of running from that light within themselves. Really have some unhealed wounds within them of not feeling worthy, not feeling deserving, not being comfortable with who they are, feeling that their own authenticity cannot be accepted or something to be ashamed of or to be kind of dulled down or watered down or hidden away. And so instead of kind of turning that lens in, then the projection happens outward in the form of pushing away others who have this very bright light, who have this deep authenticity, something about themselves that really, again, kind of shines that light on sort of the dusty corners within other people and their subconscious and whatnot. So this person really starting to step into this place of courage to speak that authenticity, speak that truth, embody that highest version of self. And with that is really also this this here with this heart, you know, this, they could be going through a heart chakra activation, some kind of an expansion in the heart center. Really somebody who is learning to trust in that, trust in the guidance of the heart, operate from that stance as opposed to, you know, something a little more restrained or a little more watered down. So still a lot of fear that they're dealing with, but it almost feels like something where with this energy of fire, a lot of wounds are being cauterized within this person. A lot of the things that might have held them back, the fears, are being almost eviscerated within them at a very rapid rate. Kind of step by step and day by day, they are starting to get some more clarity about the way that they've kind of contorted their life to fit others' expectations in general. And then how that is also kind of bled over into this connection with the both of you. Somebody who may have really kind of pushed this connection away, denied their feelings, denied that truth because of, you know, that precipice, that key that you offered them to step into, you know, this higher love, this higher truth, this higher expression, you know, to inviting them to step into that authenticity of self that they may have been so used to kind of closeting away or hiding away or cloaking from others, that could have, you know, been this trigger for them as well that caused them to kind of retreat. But this is somebody who's building up that courage to speak that truth, building up that courage to see past the illusions, somebody who's closing out some cycles in their life in a major way, including not living in that authenticity, living for other people, or somehow trying to kind of cater to or appease what others might expect for them, a sense of obligation or burden, maybe being beholden to other kind of belief systems or traditions that in some way were contradictory to the nature of the circumstances between the both of you. So this definitely, with that fire energy and that very kind of quick evisceration of things that are standing in the way, this feels like blocks and barriers internally within this person, primarily in the heart space, and also with all this green here, but then the reference to courage. I always kind of equate courage with sort of the solar plexus energy, this very, you know, kind of purposeful energy, but in conjunction with the green, this kind of heart chakra. This is somebody who's stepping into that truth of their heart, learning to trust their heart. Somebody who is very quickly kind of clearing the path to hearing that truth, to recognizing the signs, clearing the path forward to be able to provide clarity to you, to be able to provide explanation to you, or to be able to kind of meet you and expose portions of themselves that previously had been kind of hidden or obscured in this connection. So with that, also I'm drawn here with this full moon. That could be significant in terms of potentially when this person might reach out. This is a timeless video, so whenever you see it, these messages can resonate. So this can apply to, you know, kind of the next closest full moon to whenever you're watching this. But at the time I'm recording this video, we're right on the precipice of the full moon in Capricorn, which happens on July 13th. And so Capricorn being an earth sign that's very grounded. And so to me, that is really talking about kind of this truth that is being unveiled within this person, this truth that they are becoming aware of, this authentic version of self, the truth of their feelings for you that they may have kind of repressed or hidden or denied before, that it's a time of illumination that is coming up. It's a time of kind of bringing that out from the heart space and grounding that into the world. This full moon, the full moon in Capricorn, is also called the buck moon because it's the time of year when kind of the male deer that were born in the spring, their antlers are starting to really develop, to really grow and become apparent. They're coming into that place of maturity, and so that can really tie in with this idea as well of the evolution of this connection, some growth within this person, kind of like the crystallizing of courage as well. They're stepping more into that feeling of authority, you know, taking back control of their own life. you know, seizing that autonomy, taking their power back, somebody who is really stepping into kind of that higher self, that more kind of regal energy, you know, with the, I'm kind of thinking also with the buck, and then that image of the stag with its full rack of antlers, and, you know, the stag often being called the king of the forest. And so gender aside, male or female, it's that concept of this very, that masculine polarity of energy, that very action-oriented energy, that energy of certainty and of knowing. Also this energy of being able to defend what is most precious. So this is somebody who in the past may have kind of tried to hide themselves away, hide their feelings away from you and from others, but they are stepping into this period of speaking that truth, being willing to fight for this connection, make this connection known. Somebody who is willing to kind of advocate for love, who is fighting that battle, that head over heart, that kind of fear versus love. And this feels like something that, you know, love is definitely triumphing in this case. It might be kind of an arduous battle, layer by layer, a lot of deeply entrenched wounds within this person. But for a lot of you, again, kind of this full moon could bring some kind of a breakthrough, even energetically within this person, but in terms of them reaching out. I'm kind of feeling as well here in this card with this kind of nighttime sky. You know, you could get a lot of dreams about them, a lot of telepathy about them. There's also, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot of constellations here in the background. So a sense of the stars aligning for kind of the next chapter, the birthing, somebody who is taking a more assertive role in really owning their feelings, in speaking that truth, in delivering that good news, that communication that is very welcome. Kind of somebody who reemerges into your life or comes out of that darkness, out of that kind of that shadowy and that quiet space, who is armed with the, you know, this passion and this sense of knowing, this willingness to fight for this connection, to fight for this love. Somebody who also, you too could resonate as star seeds as well with these constellations. And I'm feeling also, again, this is a timeless reading, but something about the Lionsgate portal on August 8th could be significant for you. You could resonate as a Lyran starseed. You could be a Leo. This person could be a Leo. But that's that very kind of fiery and assertive energy. You know, this very kind of proactive energy of expression, and, you know, kind of this assertiveness. And so that can be a significant time as well, kind of also with this fiery energy of the wands. And I'm thinking, you know, sort of the summer months, July and August in the northern hemisphere, and as the temperatures kind of rise, this kind of is tying in with the intensity of this person's feelings for you being unearthed, recognizing that, harnessing that, utilizing that to kind of clear a path forward to communication with you. So this really feels like somebody who could deliver some kind of a message, some kind of news in the very, relatively speaking, immediate future, within the next several weeks. This feels like somebody who's already come to a lot of clarity within themselves and is kind of very actively engaged in almost clearing the way. I'm feeling here with this Ten of Wands, it's almost as this idea of somebody who has maybe kind of pruned an orchard, or kind of you know, cut down kind of the overgrowth in their life or in their surroundings, and they've now gathered these things to almost bring to kind of like a burn pit, a burn pile, to dispose of that refuse, to kind of clear the way, clear the land, so to speak. And so it feels that this person is almost clearing a lot of things away from their life, relationships, people that no longer serve them, belief systems. Self-doubt is a big thing as well, stepping into that place of loving themselves. And by doing that, essentially kind of closing out on and kind of moving away from and kind of dissolving beliefs, or you know, patterns, habits, lifestyle choices that in any way did not contribute to that sense of self-love, but really that just encouraged or fostered this person kind of playing small with themselves. This is somebody who is prioritizing their own happiness, who is recognizing the truth of your feelings, the intensity of this connection, while although very overwhelming for them, did bring them to that happy spot, that there is happiness in that authenticity. As vulnerable as they may have felt, there was something that felt so good about being seen and understood even without having to use words. So this feels like somebody who, again, with this Page of Wands, the card of good news and the happy, that it might be a very positive communication that they make, something, some kind of long overdue truth, some kind of vindication that they deliver, somebody who tells you that they're ready to invest in this connection. They're ready to really give this a chance. They're not hiding anymore. They're not running anymore. They're done with all of that. There's this desire for closeness. Also, this card, the Lovers, is often seen as, like a soulmate card or a twin flame card, especially when coupled with all this fire energy of the wands. So if they have that kind of language, that vocabulary of soulmate, of twin flame, this could be part of what they are speaking to you, that they recognize you as this counterpart. They're ready to participate in this, to experience this to the fullest, to allow this kind of energy between the both of you to grow the both of you in new and unexpected ways. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self for you now, group 2. Let's see, what do they want to say? Okay, and they say, I'm ready for more than just texts. So this is definitely somebody who wants to really bring this out into the material world, somebody who is clearing the way for a deeper level of communication, a deeper level of authenticity, somebody who is perhaps even ready to step out from behind kind of the shadow or sort of this removed stance of perhaps virtual communication, who might be ready to take things to the next level between the both of you. In whatever way that means, somebody who is ready to meet up with you, to develop a concrete and physical relationship, and somebody who is kind of moving out of this very much like a preparation stage into kind of a deeper intimacy. I'm kind of thinking of the contrast almost between texting somebody versus, say, talking on the phone with somebody or talking in person, where you have that ability to kind of interact in a more intimate way, energetically. You're able to, detect inflection and mannerisms and really look into, well, if you're on the phone, maybe not so much, but unless you're on a video chat, kind of look into somebody's eyes, to see their face, to see them smile, when something is funny or joyous, and just that kind of that level of exposure and getting to know someone that's just not as possible through purely like a vocabulary like an email or a text message or kind of a message, an instant message, things like that, where it's just kind of letters and words and sentences, and a lot is left to maybe typos or having to kind of feel into that energy, but not having kind of those other factors to really sort of deepen that intimacy of the communication between the both people. And so this is something where they're again kind of geared towards stepping into the next level of this, the next layer of this, kind of interested in exposing parts of themselves that may have been hidden for quite some time, or that they had not previously really conveyed in this connection. And they also say what we have is soul recognition. So they definitely recognize you as some kind of a soulmate, a twin flame, a love that is very exceptional, that is very much a high level love. It is beyond what they have experienced with others previously, that may have kind of, again, triggered those ideas of love and loss, this fear of vulnerability, this sense of knowing as well. It feels like somebody that you've shared many lifetimes with. I'm kind of getting this idea of, you know, you've seen kind of the shift of the constellations in the night sky over the eras, over the eons. You could both be very old souls. You could also recognize each other from other planets, other dimensions, other realities as well. Kind of the two of you sort of traversing time and space together, really interacting with each other, colliding with each other to sort of, you know, trigger something within one another. This kind of opening, this widening of perspective, this stepping into that better version of self, best version of self, more aware version of self, more sensitive and cognizant version of self. And so as much as there may have been distance and separation, as much as this person might have been very triggered and kind of put up their walls, this feels like somebody who has always held love for you deep inside. And it's a truth that might have been kind of obscured for a period of time, but it's something that they are in that process of really recognizing and looking at. And we also have old flames. So again, that idea of kind of multiple lifetimes traversing time, space, dimension, and reality together. And also really tying in with this concept of twin flames, if you resonate as that. There's a fire in this person's heart for you that has never gone out. And that could be maybe exactly what they tell you, or something very similar to whatever sort of truth or communication they deliver. That good news that comes through with the Page of Wands. And we also have guarded. So that is the Nine of Wands right there. Somebody who is still a little bit hesitant. Somebody who feels that there's a lot more they need to clear out before they're ready to kind of take that leap of faith. Somebody who, it feels like they are making steady progress through that fear. As much as they might be kind of trying to go delicately, it feels that it's almost like that first spark. It's almost like the match has been lit within them. The kindling, the tinder has been lit, and it is now ablaze. There is no containing that. There is no stopping that. And the intensity feels very thrilling to this person, but also there's that hesitation about, you know, stepping into that truth, stepping into that authenticity, maybe even just simply admitting that they have feelings for you, making these things known, public, kind of setting those feelings, you know, ablaze and announced in a way to where there's no kind of containing that. There's no sort of putting that back in the bottle. This could be somebody that even that good news is that declaration of, you know, some kind of very public display of their affections for you, some kind of very public declaration of commitment or of their intent to invest in this connection. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit for you now about the situation, Group 2. Okay, and we have clear yourself. Ask the angels to release any toxic energies that you may have absorbed. So this is really tying in with kind of that fiery energy and sort of this idea of kind of clear cutting or sort of pruning away at belief systems or even kind of lower vibrational relationships. This need within this person to kind of hide their heart, hide their truth. They're in this process of really clearing that, clearing the debris of illusion. To step more into that authenticity, to deliver something to you. Also in this card with all this kind of red and blue, this root chakra and throat chakra energy. And also the indigo on there, the third eye chakra. You know, this is somebody who is becoming more comfortable in their own skin, becoming more comfortable with the truth of their heart, with their feelings, as unconventional as the relationship or the circumstances between you might have been that really pushed them away in the past. They're coming to this place of acceptance of that, that the truth of their soul, the truth of their heart is their feelings for you, is the love they have for you. Somebody who's stepping into this place of speaking that authenticity, speaking that truth with the third eye, trusting in that inner knowing, that intuition versus what, you know, maybe others in the outside world want for them, or what others are saying, maybe even what they've heard about you or what others have said that may have, you know, caused them to kind of pull away out of a fear of being judged or ridiculed. They could have unfairly kind of pushed you away because others didn't really understand the connection, didn't approve of the connection. This is somebody who's learning to follow that own inner guidance, trust their own vision, their own knowing, their own soul recognition of you, as opposed to what kind of outside circumstances or people may have to contribute to that. and somebody who's also in this process of, you know, speaking that truth, and by speaking that truth, kind of clearing away the vibration of people and things that don't resonate with them, that don't accept them for who they are and what they, you know, authentically hold dear to them. So I'm gonna get a little more guidance for you. We've got listen. Quiet your mind, beloved one, and listen to our gentle reassurance that everything has been taken care of. Stay in a quiet and receptive state, without worrying about the exact nature of your desire's manifestation. A quiet mind and body hears us quickly and clearly. This is our request to you. Listen. So I'm really drawn to that phrase, quickly and clearly. And again, this person really clearing the way, very rapidly making progress towards you. This idea of listening is again this receptive energy, which is just encouraging you to try to clear away any beliefs within yourself that you are somehow not good enough, you are somehow not worthy or deserving of love, that you're somehow too much, or you need to kind of dim your light to be accepted or to be deemed worthy by others. Listening to that guidance within, that truth within, that quiet voice of authenticity within you, that you are worthy and deserving of love, and kind of moving into that energy of receptivity, so that, you know, your heart and your life and your perceptions are open for when this person comes through, when they have made their way through that debris, through that rubble, through that kind of whatever is acting as a wedge between you, and they deliver this truth, they speak this truth. Again, this energy of receptivity. This definitely feels like something where this could be very immediate, almost like something has caught your attention and you're pausing to listen. You're pausing to discern what that is. You might also be getting signs in the form of things that you're hearing around you. Maybe even music can be communication, or lyrics can hold messages from this person's higher self, things that you overhear other people saying in conversation that might really resonate with you, might really make sense to you, might bring some clarity about something you've been kind of puzzling with, or some kind of a truth or a confirmation about this situation and this person and where they are at in this progress. But this does feel like something, it feels very much on the precipice, very much on the brink for you, somebody who's making this steady progress forward, somebody who is accomplishing a lot very quickly, in terms of kind of taking down the barriers and the walls within themselves to be able to experience this love in a very authentic way, to be able to move past those fears, to give in a very concrete and worthwhile fashion to a new start with you, or even taking things to the next level. If maybe you've been in kind of a period of pause, or this person had a little bit of hesitation, this feels like somebody who's coming into that place of certainty. And with listen, this can again speak to, you know, some kind of a truth, some kind of good news that comes in from this person. And also with this reference to texts here, it may be in the form of a text message that they send you, or some kind of a virtual communication that comes in. So I'm going to close this message for you with some initials. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. I've got C, M, T, R, N, X, P, S, and B. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and some divination tools in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Black Moonstone, along with these cards, which I will take a look at now to get a feel for, is this person going to reach out, and any kind of idea of when, kind of a time frame that comes through. So we've got the Ten of Swords, Nine of Cups, Knight of Swords, the World, Leadership, Unfinished Symphony, Goddess, honor your divine feminine energy, see your inner beauty, love every part of you. Authentic truth, initiation by fire, and hawk. So with the Ten of Swords, this looks like somebody who has kind of come to an end of a period of confusion. A lot of mental energy, a lot of back and forth perhaps, kind of fears or hesitation holding them back, as well as some kind of denial, an energy of self-sabotage that has kept them at a distance from satisfaction with the Nine of Cups, has kept them at a distance from wish fulfillment. Again, that maybe that energy of denial as well, denying the truth that you are everything that they were looking for all along. This could be somebody who has really also with the World kind of sought outside of themselves for fulfillment. Somebody who maybe had a tendency to kind of always in many ways sort of anticipate the grass being greener on the other side. Somebody who may have been kind of moving from place to place, kind of transient in terms of their interests, or even the nature of their work, of their job, or just kind of this energy of seeking, of looking, needing to travel the world to find something, this intangible something, seeking to kind of fill a void within them through these outside circumstances. Somebody who really has had a hard time being content with where they are, with what they have. Somebody who could have also really denied kind of the truth of what resonates for them, what really kind of makes their heart sing in the interest of what others would think, things that were projected upon them, belief systems related to culture, to religion, to family, to how things would look to the outside world, even as far as this connection is concerned. If maybe there was an age difference or something between the both of you that just kind of from the outside it seemed like two opposite to truly attract each other, to have something very lasting. This person could also have really been dealing with some kind of distortions about kind of what happiness looks like, some kind of wounding in the past, some kind of a belief system where maybe their ideas of happiness and fulfillment were really kind of cut down by others in their life, were really criticized, or they were really discouraged from following some kind of a call, some kind of a something that really drew them in and really intrigued them, maybe something to do with work, or just even what resonated with them could have been very different from those around them, and so any kind of efforts to sort of branch out, to kind of get this wider scope, this wider view, could have really been shut down by others around them. With this leadership card, this could be somebody who really forfeited a lot of their autonomy to the opinions of other people as well. Somebody who has had a difficult time with asserting themselves, with expressing themselves, asserting the truth of their heart. This feels like something also with this initiation by fire, you know, a lot of kind of bridges being burned by this person, or the bridge between you being burned very cuttingly, very abruptly with that Knight of Swords, but that it's something that has really propelled you both independently into this journey within yourselves of ascension, of kind of recognizing and cutting away from some cycles, cycles even with these two spheres here, these cycles maybe of some codependence, some people pleasing, cycles of inauthenticity. This can also really talk as well with this image here of, and the woman, and she's holding these two flames, so a twin flame journey that you could be on with this person. This could be a confirmation of that, and kind of this very difficult or painful ending between the both of you being that initiatory process, that trial by fire, kind of, you know, all of your hopes and dreams with this person being eviscerated, you just left kind of smoldering in the rubble of your own ashes in order to really rise. I know this is a hawk, but almost like a phoenix out of the ashes, to take that higher perspective of kind of the purpose of this person in your life, something that has really helped to align you with your own authentic truth, align you to your purpose in this lifetime, something where you have really grown out of this situation. And this person, maybe even energetically or from afar, has really sensed these changes within you, has seen you step into that tenderness and that receptivity within you, that leadership quality that, you know, takes action and pursues dreams, coupled with this, you know, this goddess energy, this feminine energy, this magnetic energy that draws into you opportunities, you know, kind of ideas of law of attraction, setting those intentions, following that up with concrete action, and the belief system that what you want is already yours and is just kind of in the process of becoming. The idea of acting as if and it shall be, all of these things really being kind of techniques that have been birthed out of this very painful and difficult ending with this person or the circumstances between the both of you. This person really feeling that, you know, they don't want to leave things the way that you left them in the circumstances with this unfinished symphony, that there's more to this story to be written. There are still other verses in your love song, in your love story, that haven't been tapped into, that haven't been heard, that haven't been realized. This person, you could be getting a lot of songs or lyrics from this person. They could be communicating to you currently from their higher self, through lyrics, through music. For some of you, this person could be a songwriter or some kind of a musical artist, and the experiences with you, the feelings that they have for you, this truth that they've kind of kept sequestered within, that they kind of compartmentalized within them, they're bringing that out in the form of artistry in other ways. You're perhaps really operating as a muse for this person, or they could also be getting a lot of downloads through music being a very cathartic thing for them, providing them a lot of healing at the kind of the cellular and etheric level as well, through kind of the tones and the notes that they are listening to. Kind of a lot happening as well in terms of evolution, again at kind of that etheric and that cellular level, those more subtle areas within this person that is really stepping them into this version of self that they're putting themselves first. This is somebody who is kind of putting an end to the thoughts and the opinions and the chatter of others that has really defeated them or limited them in their life. This is somebody who is moving into that energy of, you know, putting their own needs and their own wants and desires ahead of what other people are telling them is good for them, or is the right way to be, or is the way that, you know, their life should look. This feels like somebody who is in this process also of cutting away from patterns of codependency, might be severing relationships in their life as well, moving away from people that don't resonate with their authentic truth. And in this process of cutting away, they're stepping closer to really embodying that truth, being able to speak that truth, Somebody who also, with that initiation by fire and this kind of twin flame journey, somebody who's taking that kind of higher perspective as well. Hawks being birds of prey, who, you know, take time to kind of circle the landscape, and with this very keen vision, this very keen sight, are able to perceive what might be overlooked to others or would be obscured or kind of shrouded from view from that kind of lower perspective. So this is somebody who is really tapped into their higher self, is listening to that guidance, is seeing the situation with you, what has occurred, their role in things, your response to that, any reactions on either of your parts. They're seeing the larger picture in this, the greater significance of this connection to them, of your presence in their life to them. Somebody who's also kind of taking a wider view also with this leadership card in terms of what's necessary to achieve their goals in many ways in their life, and also in terms of the energy of a fresh start with you. This feels like somebody who has a lot to say, a truth with the Knight of Swords that they want to deliver. You know, this can be even kind of bringing up old wounds and delivering some kind of an apology or some kind of an explanation, knowing that there are very difficult conversations that need to be had, kind of these weeds that need to be sort of cut away and traversed through in order to kind of reach that vista, that plateau, that kind of next level, that higher echelon of the connection between the both of you. Somebody who could really be recognizing you as their counterpart as well. If you resonate as a divine feminine and you're watching this reading for your masculine, this goddess card can be a confirmation of that feminine energy. Somebody who is recognizing you as very empowered. You've stepped into your best version of self. They're recognizing you as somebody who is living your truth. They're recognizing you as somebody who has cut away from a lot of kind of patterns and behavior and people in your own life that might have been kind of stifling or even kind of limiting your existence in the past. They're recognizing that a lot of these dreams and hopes and goals that you had kept inside, you've broken forth from that. Some kind of an idea as well with this image of the egg here. You've really given birth to that, or you are nurturing. You're taking the time to really, you know, tend to that dream, focus on that. And it's these qualities about you, kind of how you've redirected your focus, you've shifted your focus, you've risen out of the ashes of what has happened, that has energetically kind of signaled this person, or even through signs in, you know, coming to them from their higher self, or things they may even have been observing in the material world, that has really gifted them a new perspective of you. They're seeing you from a new light. This is somebody who may have taken you for granted before, or failed to really trust in the potential of what could grow and develop out of this connection. But also with these two kind of spheres here on this card, this is somebody who feels that, you know, they've held this love for you inside. This has remained in their heart despite what they may have said or done in the past. And there's this urge to kind of nurture this, to protect this, to help this blossom and bloom. Somebody who wants to kind of reverse course and move closer to you, where in the past they may have kind of pushed you away, again with sort of cutting words, harsh words, unfair words, or, you know, just very blunt truth that was lacking in kind of compassion or empathy. Somebody also who, with the Ten of Swords, there could have been a big kind of misunderstanding between the both of you, or some form of regret that this person has really sat with across time since you were last in contact with each other, over what was said, or kind of the method that they took, the approach that they took. To, you know, maybe instead of just asking for space, or telling you that they needed some time to figure things out, that there was some confusion, they could have just very abruptly cut things off, ghosted you completely, you know, left you in this bubble of confusion, and not having, you know, a way out of that, not having a way to solutions, a way to truth, that had kind of forced you on that journey within to find that own truth within yourself, to kind of rebuild yourself out of these circumstances. circumstances. Kind of this idea as well with these spheres, this sort of impenetrable barrier that this person may have put up to you, even energetically. There's a sense of that opening up. So their energy might have felt even kind of cold towards you recently, or for a while it might have felt kind of closed off or dormant, also with this image of the polar bear here, and kind of that theme of sort of the icy, barren kind of terrain, where there was not a lot happening. You may have really given this connection up for dead, just assumed that it was over, it was done, and in a way that's true. A chapter has ended. Both these cards, Ten of Swords and the World, are cards of endings, but they are also cards of precipice and beginning. Following the World is the Fool, that leap of faith into the unknown. Following the Ten of Swords is the Ace of Swords, that card of truth, of epiphany, of inspiration, of kind of that first word, that first phrase, that utterance that sort of cuts through the confusion and kind of the closure from the previous time spent together. And so this definitely is indicating a next level in your journey, a next stage in your journey, perhaps a reawakening of this journey, a resparking of this connection, or the work that you've done internally within yourself, and that this person is also in tandem kind of doing in their own way. This feels very much like a lot of the work you've done has been internal, and a lot of this person's work is needing to be external. A lot of circumstances in their external life, primarily relationships or people, opinions that were coming in, that this person is in this process of kind of cutting away from, distancing themselves from, putting those barriers and boundaries and guard up to, so that they can really, hear their own intuition, hear their guidance, live in their own truth. Somebody who is really seeing the truth of kind of the intentions of others around them, or kind of the one-sidedness maybe of connections. People who felt most comfortable by this person playing small with their life. People who could have felt very threatened by kind of the creative drive that this person had, or some kind of belief systems or ideas or even experiences. People who could have felt very threatened by the connection between the both of you, or the energy between the both of you, even just primarily because it's so different from what has commonly been understood of love and relationships and the nature of that. And so this seems to be somebody who's got that higher perspective, who's really seeing things clearly, and is in that process of kind of cutting away that which doesn't resonate with the authentic truth, making their way closer to you in order to kind of pick up where you left off, to really kind of engage in either creating some closure for the both of you, or continuing on in kind of this process of developing and deepening the connection and the love between the both of you. So in terms of time frame, I'm really drawn to the Swords here, which is very quick moving energy. It's just very immediate. It feels that this person also being at this point of endings, that page is just getting ready to turn. The new chapter is getting ready to be written. It's almost like the hawk is in the sky, and they have spotted their prey. They see what they want. They have zeroed in on what they want, and it's definitely, it's this counterpart energy, it's this clarity, it's this truth within this person. So they could very imminently make some kind of communication to you, or kind of at the very least the energy between the both of you, sort of this barrier, this bubble, it feels that that's going to burst, and what might have been a very closed off, kind of dormant, icy cold, you weren't really feeling this person, you maybe hadn't dreamed about them in a while, you weren't getting the signs, you weren't getting the synchronicities again. It feels that all of this is about ready to spark. All of this is about ready to take on kind of a new and swift pace, that trajectory, that volume. It's about to take on a new capacity. You're also going to be able to kind of see things and understand things from a higher perspective due to whatever it is that they speak to you, whatever truth they deliver, or just what comes through energetically, that the way you experience this person, it's going to be very tangible, the changes that they have made, the intensity and consistency of their energy, either when you're interacting with them in the 3D or even through the higher realms. This is something where you're going to notice that change, you're going to notice that shift, where it may have been kind of wishy-washy, in and out energy before. There's an intensity, there's a focus there, there's a determination there, an assertiveness there. that might have been kind of lacking before. Also with kind of this idea of this leadership and this masculine action-oriented polarity as contrast to kind of the receptive, the magnetic, the feminine polarity of energy. Balance has been achieved within this person in a major way in terms of those polarities of energy, which we all possess within ourselves. And this can also tie in with that image of the flames on the initiation by fire. This can also really signal kind of that coming together of counterparts, that twin flame union or twin flame reunion, or at least kind of the next stanza in your love song, that next chapter in your love story, right at that precipice of kind of opening the door to that, those new experiences together, which, you know, because of your own free will, both of your free will, this can be something which, you know, it's the final chapter between you. It's those final lines. It's that closure. It wraps everything up, you know, so that you can both move forward into other connections, into other areas of your life without kind of these lingering doubts and uncertainties and kind of heartbreak. For others of you, you know, this is a new experience with this person, a level of commitment and self-actualized understanding that was lacking before. And this is somebody who can come into this connection then in a more authentic manner, somebody who is interested in kind of preserving the integrity of the connection, you know, really kind of energetically sequestering the two of you within that sanctity of the relationship, not allowing kind of outside influences, outside people or circumstances to kind of penetrate that barrier. Somebody who really cherishes this, who's ready to work with you, who recognizes you even perhaps as a soulmate, as a twin flame. Maybe these terms, that vocabulary has come into this person's awareness. They see the truth. They see the higher meaning behind the two of you kind of crossing paths and everything that has been kind of shaken up and triggered for the both of you. And somebody who, you know, is really also, again, cognizant of the work that you've done within yourself, and what they may have overlooked in terms of the potential of this connection before becomes apparent to them. It's something that they want to build with, that they want to work with. Recognizing and truly, I feel that it's admitting that you are wish fulfillment, you are satisfaction for them. The grass having proven to not be greener elsewhere, them not having found what they were looking for elsewhere, or in kind of the sort of the dimmed down or watered down life, living according to expectations of others, kind of a lifestyle or a belief system that they had outgrown. This is somebody who's kind of breaking away from that, who's breaking barriers and boundaries within their life in terms of the ways in which they can show up in this connection, and their ideas and kind of belief systems about love and this connection as well. So again, this could be quite quick when you hear from this person. This is very much, you know, this bubble of anticipation getting ready to burst, kind of like any day now. This person could really reach out, reach forth, or just any day now, some kind of a shift in that energy and the intensity of that can become apparent to you. You might even kind of feel the pressure of that sort of building, almost this idea of kind of the walls closing in, sort of, as a result of kind of this energy from this person sort of moving in closer, that certainty that's coming in closer, being right at that brink, before that, you know, that barrier between the both of you is dissolved, is severed, and then it's almost like this, you know, letting loose what has been bottled up and kept inside, kind of this unfinished symphony, this story that hadn't quite concluded between the both of you, and kind of had just been on pause, on ice, just kind of sitting there, hovering in the background as you've both kind of moved forward in other ways in your life, and it's melting that, it's allowing that to take on a different form, to become more fluid and to be felt in a new capacity and a more intense capacity than you had experienced previously. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self for you, group 3. What do they want to say? Okay, they say, I am making plans. So again, that's kind of tying in with this energy of the hawk spirit and, you know, really surveying the situation, surveying the land, seeing what needs to be done, focusing in on their goal, on their desire, on, you know, this fresh start of this reunion, this speech, these words, this declaration that they want to make to you, really planning that maneuver, planning that approach, you know, sussing out the conditions, if everything is right, trying to get things very much in order into kind of a place where they're then able to sort of deliver something to you to kind of pick up, to resume this energy, or to you know, either provide that closure or kind of get things in the momentum of the next stage developing between you. And they also say, I don't care what people think anymore. So that was coming through with that Ten of Swords in terms of the opinions of other people, the belief systems, real or perceived, things that were actually spoken or were just kind of assumed that other people would think, or would judge them, would judge the connection, perhaps unfairly even judged you in the past, that caused this person to keep you at arm's length, to push you away, to not invest in this connection. This is that energy of severing that, kind of breaking those cycles, moving away from that, releasing relationships and belief systems and tendencies that are not serving this person's highest good and deepest satisfaction and authentic truth in their life in general, and about this connection and their feelings for you. And they also say, I'm still moved by you. So again, this flame has never gone out within them. Despite what they might have said or done, they have always held love for you. They've always held a very tender place for you. And this may have been quite an internal conflict for this person, again, if they were also dealing with sort of outside influences or parties or belief systems that, you know, were very kind of unfair, unkind about you or about this situation. It could have been quite a struggle for this person to really kind of do that dance, to kind of fit in with that, sort of nodding their head yes, when inside it's you know, it's a very different story. And so this is something where, you know, they have kept this love kind of hidden within in this very kind of treasured place. And through all the confusion and through all the doubt, that's been the consistency as they're kind of moving away from other things in their life. That truth then has the ability to really shine through. And they also say, I'm trying to figure things out. So that ties in with that energy of making plans, trying to plan that approach, wanting to get those words just right, wanting to make sure that, you know, the meaning is not lost, that they are speaking truth in a way that they may have withheld things before. Somebody who is also really kind of taking inventory of what was said or done in the past, recognizing that, you know, it might not be so easy as to just come back in and just pick right up where you left off, but there's a lot of kind of difficult ground, a lot of, you know, swords that are emotional wounds that are within each other that need to be kind of extracted, almost like a splinter, just kind of pulled out very delicately in order to kind of allow that wound to breathe and that wound to have kind of the time and space to heal. So this is somebody who I think is very very eager and very anxious to come in and deliver some kind of truth, but understands that this truth might just be a first step on what could be kind of a gradual progression. It may take some time to kind of rebuild that trust between the both of you, to, you know, really make everything known. This is somebody who is perhaps even anticipating a long and very deep conversation, a very heavy conversation, a lot of catching up to do as well, perhaps. So I'm going to get some guidance for you now, group 3, about this situation. Okay, we have law of attraction. Relationships and activities that you once enjoyed are now changing as you become more sensitive and aware of energies. So that was coming up in terms of this balance within this person that you also seem to have cultivated within yourself, and that ripples out then in terms of the connection. This energy of magnetization, really setting those intentions, setting those goals, focusing on those things and following that up with concrete action in the material world to create conditions that are conducive to that, and to also really bring that into fruition. This is really some guidance that, you know, almost that sense of, as that pressure is kind of building around you, that sense of something shifting, maybe not even necessarily knowing where to pinpoint that, or the location of that, like where that's coming from, but just a sense energetically within your own auric field of something incoming, something impending, that it's definitely a sign of this person in that planning stage, in that preparation stage. Kind of the more they clear away in terms of distortion and kind of blocks or limits between the both of you, the closer that they get. The more they do this work within themselves, the closer they get to that realization of that kind of union and harmony within, that truth within. The more they kind of clear the clutter and the obscured views, the more they are able to see with greater clarity and heightened perception the truth of this situation, the truth of their feelings for you, and the way forward in order to create change in these circumstances in the material world. So I'm going to get a little more guidance for you, group 3. Okay, and we have relationship. Your primary relationship is with yourself and God. Every other relationship follows from there. To attract, heal, or balance a relationship, then snuggle more closely with your loving Creator. As you feel safe and loved within, so shall your other relationships bloom and prosper. So that really ties in also with that law of attraction guidance, that at this time, it's very crucial for you to continue to focus on an abundance mindset, to continue to cultivate abundance in other ways in your life. Remain open and in that energy of receptivity, as this person seems to be the one that is taking the action-oriented approach. They seem to be the one who's taking that assertive approach, getting closer and closer to that truth within, that then empowers them with the words and clarity to deliver that truth without, to deliver that truth to you in a manifest and material sense. And so you're really guided to, again, kind of work on that mindset of abundance. Seek to free yourself from any kind of lack mentality, anything where you may have really questioned yourself, you may have questioned your own intuition, or self-doubt, or thoughts of confusion had really kept you away from that intuition, that inner knowing. Seeking to really look at relationships also in your life, you know, recognizing people who have your best interest in mind versus those who feel safest or in some way benefit from you kind of living in a very contained sense, in a very kind of small and inauthentic version of yourself. What are some ways that you can step more into and embody that truth? Maybe some difficult conversations that you need to have, ways in which boundaries need to be set and asserted with others in your life, whether that's friends, or it could have to do with family, something with work, even other romantic connections you're in. Maybe there's, you know, somebody that you, it's past its expiration date and the two of you need to part ways, and that could be operating as a block between this other person coming in. So you're really invited to kind of do that clearing of the clutter in your own life, kind of work in tandem with this energy, recognizing the path that this person is on, and continuing to kind of do that inventory for yourself, really seeking to constantly be checking in, or, you know, not constantly in terms of daily, but regularly be checking in on kind of who you keep company with, what it is you're participating with, what are your belief systems, how are you viewing yourself, how are you viewing yourself in light of other experiences that you've had, what are, you know, your authentic truths versus, you know, ideas or kind of self-deprecation that may have been templated by others upon you, or by instances where you felt very defeated. What are some ways that you can kind of take your power back from those situations, really perform those acts of self-love through, you know, asserting that you are worthy, deserving, and capable of receiving and experiencing healthy and reciprocal love. and primarily focusing on that kind of love of self, that relationship with self, on that magnetic vibration. It helps to kind of create the optimal conditions for this person to kind of come through, to be able to, you know, work on those wounds within self, so you can listen with an open mind, really recognize the truth that this person has to say, some deep healing that's available either in the form of closure or kind of in the next stage in this connection through a lot of clarity and some kind of declaration, which it feels is going to be made in the not too distant future for you from this person. So I'm going to get some initials now, group 3, to close out this reading. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got U, S, Z, P, A, H, R, L, C, W, and J. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and some divination tools in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.